Perfect.
Pen and a shirt.
Very organized.
Good. I've been doing this for a couple of years. I got all this stuff. All right, we're here at GAMA Expo 2025 in one of the networking pods, and I've got Zachary Cox here from Soul Muppet Publishing, and we're going to game jam.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Start the timer. Let's game jam.
Okay,
we can't talk
cool.
about it until it started. So
Right.
what kind of game? 15 minutes? I got some stuff. We don't have to use it.
I'm just looking at what is in front of me. I've got some pens, little selections of little meeply things.
Thanks for
Some
that's
orange-
from Game Crafter. I went to the Game Crafter event, got some stuff from them.
Orange token with a fox and a hawk.
Yeah.
And that is and then what we got? Playing cards.
Playing cards.
Ooh.
Yeah, these
What is this?
This is from my Never Going Home game.
Ah,
This is the
okay,
World War I
cool.
horror game.
Well, yeah, I know Never Going Home very well.
Yeah.
I loved Charlie's work for ages. This is evocative. Okay, but so at the moment, the two things which are leading me in a direction are these tokens and this deck of cards. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna look at that. That's got how you're meant to use this card deck for some kind of role-playing game context. We've got some index cards.
We've got some dice here too.
Yeah, some dice. That makes sense.
And I think so. If you are inspired by the cards, like they're not. I'm almost like wondering if there is sort of a way to do kind of a the game takes place during World War I, and like all of this is happening, but these are our tokens, and we're telling the story of like nature that is like responding or avoiding or in the context of like some of the destruction.
I feel like these two. So just is this video or is this just audio?
Yo, it's video.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. You can
so we got a little.
the-
We got a little fox and a little eagle. My game is trying to like. What this is immediately making me think of is like Aesop's fables.
Okay,
You know, like
okay, yeah.
the story of the hare and the tortoise, right?
Yeah.
But some kind of race thing
Okay.
involving these two.
Okay.
But my brain is trying to work out, I want to use this card deck to do some kind of mechanic for a race here.
So the first thing that occurs to me then is like ignore all the World War I stuff. They're just it's just a deck of cards.
Okay.
And then so we have 4 different sort of landforms that we've got.
okay,
And then the
yeah.
eagle or the hawk and the fox
Okay.
each have different capabilities to move through the different landforms.
Sure, yeah. So we've got 2 suites of cards. We've got one that's orange and we've got one that's blue, right? What are these 2 environments that we think is more suiting a fox and more suiting a bird, right?
Right, well,
Because then we want to line those up to the 4 suites we have. Right?
Exactly.
So if we've got, because half of them are black, which are going to fit with the blue, right?
Sure.
And then what we've got then is you've got orange, which is going to fit with the diamonds and the hearts, right? So the position we have here is, could we do some kind of thing where you're like drawing from a deck and cards of some suites are pushing one character forward along a track and cards from one suite are pushing along the other, right?
That's kind of what I set up here.
Yeah, cool. So we've got this idea that like we're flipping through here. So now we have the questions, the numbers, Matthew, what do they mean? Is that just how fast the thing is? Like, is this some kind of like random encounter table we're building for these?
I guess the question is like kind of how much narrative, right? So like, is it a race board game in which like it's how fast you get to the end, or is it a narrative game where like the number means sort of a scale
prompts?
of obstacle? Yeah, they prompts, and we're actually it doesn't matter who wins because the experience is telling the story of the journey.
Yeah,
Like,
I always have fun. Like, as you can tell, I was immediately here looking for like what materials can we use and what's going to fit here, but also like thinking about the level of abstraction that occurs in a game is something that's really interesting to me. Like looking at how different war games and board games and role-playing games abstract different levels of things are. It's like a real push. Like the first thing I'm thinking about when I'm designing something like this is like, what level is this meant to simulate something, and what level is this just like a place where events occur, right? Or because like in the board game spectrum, you can go from like a Euro game where you're, I think
Cube
always of
pushers.
that. Yeah, you're just pushing a cube around. Or what does the cube mean? How
Resources.
many sheep is that?
It's resources.
As opposed to like something.
It's the Silk Road.
Yeah,
all
which
of these
fits
cubes.
more in that like Ameritrash zone where like There is a story
that's a word I
in
haven't
these
heard in a
things.
long time.
Yeah. I'm getting distracted though. Yeah. I think that there's we've got loads of time left and we've written so much already. So assuming that I really like the way you've laid this out into 2 tracks, and we can see that like there's this left path that our fox is taking, there's this right path that our bird is taking. So, what is the game actually about? I think is a really interesting. Like, is this just a race, or is this something about?
Like you said, I mean, you could kind of do. You'd almost do like a time. It's negative time. So like if it's just a race, the cards take longer to navigate, perhaps, right?
Yeah,
We already flipped this one over, so we know it's a 3. So it's both it's a red card in a 3 position. So this card will be navigated in 3 time, very quickly relative to the rest of the deck, and it's their advantage because it's their matching color, right? So like, as opposed to this one, all right, well, this is 8, so it took them longer, but it's still the advantaged color. So, like, I don't know.
Okay.
So, like, there's some math.
We've got
stuff
some
going
dice
on.
here. Do you think that, like, if you're in a terrain that works for you, you're rolling a bigger dice to see how many of these you can get through?
Ooh.
Like, is there... Whenever somebody shows me a deck of cards and I'm playing role-playing games, I'm either thinking about poker hands, which isn't going to work here because I don't think that's the right call, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm thinking about blackjack, right? I'm trying to work out how to get up to some number, a kind of gambling mechanic.
Okay, so if it is sort of... Because animals aren't just traveling, like, you said Aesop's Fables, but, like, I was thinking more natural, sort of like simulation of life or whatever. Like, animals aren't traveling around. Animals spend, like, 80% of their day, like, looking for food. I mean, that's, like, how they work. So like maybe there's something
is
there.
Is this
about
something to do
like,
with food rather
like
than
they're looking for food, right? So like if they're only going to travel as far as they need to get the resources they need. So like the fox here is only on 3 if you're trying to get to 21, right?
Yeah.
So like an 8 and a 3 is where we're at right now. Like what is the
Hi.
Hello. Scene change. What scene change?
Yeah, slight interruption. We were in a space we weren't meant to be. So, yeah, I think we're looking at like... So my brain now is jumping to like working out what these cards mean and understanding that where this is like food or resources, right? Both of these animals are hunters. Right? So what we can then represent is like these cards when they have a number on them mean time, right? Okay. Whereas then like, do we want to have the face cards be relating to some kind of like food?
Ooh,
or something?
If that's like a goal then of the cards.
Yeah.
So maybe we're tracking time at like how long is it taken to cover this card, and maybe if it's maybe it very simply maybe it's if it's your color, then it's positive time, and if it's it's negative. If it's your anti-color, right?
Is that gonna mean that most of the time? I'm now thinking about game balance, which isn't what we're trying to do in this session. But like, would that mean that on average you're going to end up with like a 0 or a negative number, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think we are. We are because if half the ones are your color and half the ones aren't, then like you're going to be minusing numbers as well as you're taking them away, which is kind of sketchy. So in my head, like, is this something like dice mechanic where you're moving like D6 or D10 items each time?
I mean, I was thinking
D12?
fairly quick play, right? Like, because I set out the 5 cards, so like, and I don't know. So right now we've got a 3 and an 8. So like, the eagle has taken more time to do this, but it's sort of not. Neither of them have yet been disadvantaged because they're on their matching colors so far. So if we continue the trend,
we've got 2 more of the same color.
That's 13 and 15. So like, they're very close, and neither of them have found a face card yet. So if we're and they're also neither advantage. I think we're just going to reveal and trying to see what happens. So like now,
these have both taken a disadvantage.
They've both taken a disadvantage. So like if they still haven't found a face card, which is interesting in the way that they got laid out.
I'm making some decisions now.
So what really does the advantage? Does this mean that this is like 12? Because like is this 12 time instead of 6 time because it's the disadvantage? So now this creature has spent.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
You know, and 13, 12. It's like 25 minutes looking for food and has found nothing. And this creature, got the lower card, but
my
double
emotional energy that we decide what these colors mean. I think that the
spades,
what is this going to be good at hunting on? That's like a moor, right?
Ooh, okay.
And then we can have black be not black. What are they called? Clubs be mountains.
Okay.
And then I think it makes sense for hearts to be forest or something like that.
Sure.
That's like a space where a forest can hunt better than a bird.
Yeah.
What is the other one of those? Diamonds.
Diamonds is any of those places rock? You said rocky, like a
moors,
rocky,
mountains, forests.
mountains. So
It's
what about
like-
what about a seashore sort of
I like that,
situation?
yeah, cool.
Shells,
Sure,
or
beaches, yeah.
or
That
lake,
fits
lake
with
edge
diamonds really
margin.
nicely. Water, right?
Yeah, a
It's
water.
red, but like that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's the idea like now we're like narrating
Yeah.
what kind of distance it is. Each number is responding to like a difficulty of movement, right? Like this is a heart, so it's a forest that's like light, whereas this is a much heavier forest that's harder to travel through and
Yeah.
harder to find. Like it's easier for your prey to hide from you.
So we're continuing that story of
Continuing,
their
yeah, we're trying to,
opposition.
like,
Oh, look, they both
working,
ended up advantaged.
moving
so
up
now
this new
that we decide that
biomes,
this
yeah.
is water, so now I'm describing some sort of a lake edge.
And then we've actually not found any food.
We
at
actually
all.
not found any food at all. So then, like, what is
does
that?
Does this deck have face cards? This is just starvation. What have we done? We've got 4 minutes and both our animals are starving to death. But yeah, there's.
All right, so, well, go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to. I feel like when I'm building these kind of card games, I always want situations where like the game can be made more complicated. Right, there are cards that can be revealed or swapped or redrawn or moved around, and like.
Well, I think
Because I feel like at the moment we're just being drawn and we're like revealing
Yeah.
these cards and kind of tell a story as what's going on, right?
this is also sort of simultaneous solitaire is sort of how
Yeah.
we set this up as well, where like we could be telling each other the story about, and then my fox went to the lake, and you know the crabs were in the mud, and I couldn't get down to them. I dug around a little bit. You know, I could do that kind of narrative, but we haven't actually interacted either.
No.
You know,
I mean,
so,
because
like,
we're in different places, right?
Well, but it's sort of, but then there's sort of like, there's a way to do a game that would be sort of like this sort of like, they spent all day looking for food and they didn't find anything, and that's nature, and it's just, there's a beauty in the experience of having told the search, you know, and there isn't like a point or a victory condition, you know, it's just to tell the story. You know, there is sort of a beauty in that kind of a storytelling
Yeah,
experience,
we've kind
but I
of
don't.
pushed it more to a journaling game. That
Almost, yeah.
Like if
I
we
don't
were
know
building this
intentionally
out,
that we did this.
we were building this out more quickly and we didn't have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. I'd want to like build prompts what each of these environments are and like work out what each of those face cards actually means, right?
I mean, I like that. Obviously, that is we couldn't get it done in 10 minutes or 2 minutes, but this is about the iteration part. Like as a design thing, because we got a couple minutes left. Okay, so we've kind of accidentally made this sort of journaling game. So what would we want to iterate, reset, and try to actively do it, or would we want to spend some more time? Like if we reshuffle the deck and see how
Yeah, let's
it plays
reshuffle
out,
the deck and see how it plays out a bit.
plays out again,
Interested in that.
and
Let's see if we can find some food this time.
yeah.
I'd like to play the bird. You can play the orange creature. The fox. I don't know why I said the orange creature. So coherent of me. It is orange.
It is on an orange tab.
Okay.
I did it.
So my bird is soaring over a light forest, seeing trees everywhere, no food found as of yet. How's your fox doing?
My fox
It's
has
an immediate food.
immediate
Good
food,
heavens.
like comes out of the burrow, shore side, seaside. I think this is
it's the king of fishes,
I
right?
think it's the king of fishes. So I think it's like a fresh. It's carrion. I'm not above eating some carrion.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a sizable fish. Maybe it's after a salmon run, and there's food right there, right outside the burrow. Delicious.
8. I think I've smelt on the wind this salmon that you've managed to find, this carrion meat, and I'm moving around this area, but when you're high up and flying around, it's much harder to find out what's going on here. Yeah. Let's see.
All right, that was the
That's mountains.
mountains. All right, yeah, going up into the hills, looking for some dormice. I don't know. They're little tiny things under the rocks. Can't get to them.
And finally, some food here. I think this is like a smaller version of the same catch.
Yeah.
Maybe not some salmon, but some plaice or something. Another fish. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
All right,
15.
That's 15. Okay, so very quickly, because we have to leave this room too, do you like what we did? Is there something here that you would want to develop more?
I feel like I'd really like to work out a full prompt system and work out how to interweave the stories together more.
Yeah,
Maybe have the cards the other players have found influence more than the narrative of what's happening. Speaking of myself, I liked what I was able to say. I've moved to the same biome.
Right, because you got the same color, and maybe when you get the color that's the opposite of your color. Well, that was the case here, but maybe that's you have to bring it. You're forced to bring in the narrative when you're getting the opposite color.
But I still think I want more decision in the gameplay rather than just drawing from a deck and revealing this path. I kind of would love the opportunity to be able to have different options available. Working in something that feels more like a food tree or a sort of choose your own adventure,
like a 6x6 grid.
Something like that. Yeah. And then if we had that would represent better a physical space and allow us to use these biomes to build a map of what this region, this bit of nature looks like. What these things could relate to.
That's some pretty cool stuff. There's some potential here. So should we develop it?
I think I'm quite busy. And also, solo journaling games aren't really my field of expertise, I must say.
Yeah, well, there's always a chance.
Always a chance.
Zach, tell the internet where people can find you if they want to hear more about the games you do design.
Cool, yeah. So my name's Zach. I run an RPG publishing company called Soul Muppet Publishing. We make cool and interesting games that really focus on having an incredibly strong sense of genre and getting mechanics out of the way and focusing on storytelling. You might know us from games such as Orbital Blues, Inevitable, Paint the Town Red, or Best Left Buried. Here at GAMA in the US for the first time, trying to raise awareness of our games amongst the friendly local gaming stores that you might go to across the continental US.
Yeah, excellent.
So excited to be here. At Jelly Muppet is me on social media. I'm the founder and director of Soul Muppet, mostly doing writing and production stuff, but Soul Muppet RPG is where you can find us on most of the social medias.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for doing this for me. I hope your game works out.
Thank you very much. You too.
Thank you for watching the video.